really hot. I'm like sweating. This is not gonna go well. I need to put like powder on my face. Like, this is going well. This is really going well. Maybe I'm not going through menopause, but I don't know. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Annita if you're new here. And if you are, you should hit subscribe and join the family. I'm like sweating. This is not gonna go well. I last did a video about chronic fatigue syndrome in November 2018. I put it out there mostly for myself because I was pretty much in denial still, and it really helped me to just speak about what I was going through, to share my story, and in turn it ended up being such a positive thing because I got such great feedback from it. It's not about praising me, but it's about people not feeling alone, and that's pretty much why I wanted to put this video out, because there really isn't information out there. And people do ask me very regularly, whether it be through DMs or on comments or whatever on Twitter, can you do a follow-up one? I don't feel like I'm in a place to be doing a follow-up one because my condition with chronic fatigue syndrome hasn't improved, nor has it got worse. So I don't really have an answer. So I don't feel like I'm in a position to be doing a follow-up because I don't have answers, if that makes sense. But I did want to make this video. Personally, for someone who has had it for quite some time now, I don't believe there is enough information out there, and I don't believe there are enough support channels out there for people who have it, because it is definitely a silent disease. And it is one of those things where it's sad but true that a lot of doctors and medical professionals still don't believe it's a thing that exists. People still to this day don't see the difference between chronic fatigue syndrome and like exhaustion. But there's a major difference. Pretty much the definition of someone who has chronic fatigue syndrome is pure exhaustion all the time that can't be fixed with sleep. So for someone saying like it's 11 o'clock at night, I'm like, I'm so tired. There's a very big difference between being that term tired because it's late at night versus having chronic fatigue syndrome. Chronic fatigue syndrome, you can go to sleep at 6 p.m. and wake up at 7 a.m. the next day, have a good 13-hour nap, sleep. Could be even a deep sleep if you're lucky, but that doesn't mean that you're gonna wake up rested. It's just gonna feel the same. So it's a deliberating. No, that's just talking. Deliberating. It's a painful situation, and can be very, very frustrating for many people because nothing you do seems to fix it. So on Instagram the other day, I put out this whole like question box thing, and I did it on Twitter as well. I was like, if anyone has any questions about chronic fatigue syndrome, I want you to submit it because I'd like to answer them. I will get into the questions in the comments later, but to start with, I want to talk about the definition, the symptoms, the treatments, all of that juicy stuff. So what is chronic fatigue syndrome? In short, you might see it online as CFS. It is a multi-system disease that causes dysfunction in the neurological, immune, endocrine, and energy metabolism system. So all those systems, it causes havoc in it, and it's a wild party, to say the least. It's hormones. Love them. Just love them. When you have chronic fatigue, like I said before, it's pretty much fatigue that isn't fixed with rest. So it can cause like a lot of memory fog, a decrease in concentration, can decrease your stamina overall, like whether it be working out or whatever, fitness levels. Many hormonal imbalances, like your serotonin levels, which is your happy hormones, so they go crazy, and that goes hand in hand with, you can have a lot of anxiety and depression because of it. Tender lymph nodes, a constant sore throat, that's common. And many people also have chemical sensitivities, like a smell to perfume or to taste or to touch, like things are really heightened. For me, I actually don't know if this is a chronic fatigue thing or this is an always thing for me, but like the smell of coffee, I've never had coffee in my life, but just the smell of coffee, it makes me feel so sick. And if I get like a big whiff of it, I'll have a migraine for like 3 days and need to be bedridden. Like I'm so sensitive to the smell of coffee. And then another symptom is pain, and pain again. And the pain is different for everyone. I'll talk about the pain later because it's very specific to individuals, but I have an interesting pain situation. What actually causes chronic fatigue syndrome? So chronic fatigue syndrome is a dysfunction in the immune and adrenal systems. Many people can get it after a viral infection, as it can lead to immunological immunological dysfunction and neurological dysfunction. Immunological and neurological dysfunction, whatever, you get it. It fatigues your immune system. I personally got it after I had Epstein-Barr, which is mono, which is glandular fever. Wherever you are in the world, it's a fun time. If you want to find out my story about how I got it, I go into that in that other video I was talking about. I'm gonna link it here or here, whatever. I'm not good with the YouTube thing. I think it goes here. It is estimated that 2 million people in just the US have chronic fatigue syndrome and 20 million worldwide, which are crazy numbers. Again, it's such a silent thing, but it's definitely a thing. And science has shown that it affects more women than men. No one knows why. There isn't a drug to cure it. It's just one of those unknown things. Maybe we just work harder. I don't know. We just burn out. We push ourselves as women. I mean, I'm not saying men don't either, but women just need to fight harder to get what they want in general. So people with chronic fatigue syndrome have reduced fighting cells. So you know those cells that in the antibodies and all of that fight off diseases? They naturally have reduced ones, whether it be naturally or from the viral infection, if that's where they got chronic fatigue from. And in turn, they have an increased number of killer cells. So anything good coming in, they're like, boom, bye. My boxing coach would not be happy with me just having my hand here. That's to protect your face and your chin. But while there isn't any actual medical drugs or anything to fix this, there have been studies on chronic fatigue, and I want to share something that when I read this just really blew my mind. 2015 article from the New Yorker. I want to read it word for word. I've got, you know what I have in my head? I've got, firstly, Taylor Swift's newest album. Oh, I just love her so much, but I've got August, that song August stuck in my head. It's just not really, the concentration is like crazy, not good. A 2015 article from New Yorker states that people with CFS are more functionally impaired than those with type 2 diabetes, multiple sclerosis, and congested heart failure. That is just speaks volumes to me, and I'm sure it does to anyone else suffering. You totally understand. And no one, it's not, when you have like whatever condition you have, whether it be a broken leg or lung cancer, no one's comparing diseases to a disease. It's oranges to apples. You can't do that. No one's trying to, oh, mine's worse than yours. Well, I hope you're not, because that's just ridiculous. But in that saying, you can kind of get an understanding of how it is such a silent disease, because you might look so fine and healthy, but you are, what did they say? You are more functionally impaired than someone with congested heart failure. Like, that is crazy to me. Like, you know, with COVID going on and everything, and if you're compromised, immunocompromised or whatever, and I would put my hand up, and people, like, no one really asked me about it, but I was a bit like uncomfortable saying, yeah, I'm immunocompromised. And because it's not like I have kidney disease, it's not like I've got anything crazy like brain cancer or lung cancer or anything like that. But my body, it's still immunocompromised, and I did get COVID, and I'm not blaming it on anyone, but I'm just saying I don't have a strong body like it used to be. It's not as fighty as it once was. Wear a mask, people. I always do, but like, I'm just telling you, wear a mask. Do it for yourself, but also do it for health professionals. It's just rude at this point that we're in, especially in the US, we're in such a bad state when most of the rest of the world has kind of come over or flattened the curve, and we're just getting worse. It's just embarrassing, and it's just plain rude to the health professionals that have been working tirelessly for the whole year to try and like help us, and we just can't give a shit. Wear a mask. Back to the study. The study said employment. In terms of employment, it is estimated 35 to 60% of people with chronic fatigue will become unemployed at one point in their lives. And 29% of these people will be bedridden or housebound at some point. And I'm not going to get into this now, but that was one of the main reasons that I recently left my job. I can't work normal people hours. It just ruins my health, and I just can't keep up with that. So if I need to have a little more of a sleep in, or I'm happy to wake up early, if I need to have like a lie down in the day, I need the ability to do that. Okay, so before we move on to the pain, because remember I told you I need to talk about your pain? I've got so much to say. So I want to show you this book. Full disclosure, I haven't finished reading it, but If you don't know the medical medium, definitely go follow him on Instagram. His name is Anthony Williams. Whether you're a skeptic or not, I believe it. I'm not saying you have to believe it. There are a lot of people who are skeptics and then they meet him or they read the book and they just turn. He has been given this gift from a higher power. He calls him the spirit. The spirit talks to him in his ear, and he's able to use like food and natural products to heal people, and the spirit tells him exactly what, like, you know, this person needs. Like, I mean, celebrities use him. Like, he's crazy amazing. The reason I bring this up is because this one in particular is the secrets behind chronic and mystery illnesses, and he speaks about chronic fatigue syndrome and Epstein-Barr and fibromyalgia. I just like the way that he described it, because for a very long time and still to this day, it's very hard condition to describe. There's a long history of womankind facing denial that there's a physical cause of their suffering. People with chronic fatigue syndrome often hear that they are liars, lazy, delusional, and or crazy. It's an illness that affects women in disproportionately large numbers, and chronic fatigue syndrome is on the rise. It's becoming common for young women in college to return home mid-semester with the condition, unable to do anything but lie in bed. Contracting chronic fatigue syndrome as a woman in your late teens or early 20s can be particularly devastating as you watch friends move on with relationships and jobs, meanwhile feeling stuck and unable to live up to your potential. Women who get CFS in their 30s, 40s, and 50s have their own obstacles. While you're old enough at this point to have some established life and support network, you also have established responsibilities. You're likely trying to be everything for everybody, taking care of more than you can handle, and so you feel the pressure to act normal when CFS hits. Compounding the isolation for both age groups and the feelings of guilt, fear, and shame that accompany their misdiagnoses. I'm sure that if you have CFS, you've been in the depths of physical suffering and had someone say, "But you look perfectly healthy." It is so disheartening to feel unwell and hear from practitioners, friends, or family that there's nothing wrong with you. Chronic fatigue syndrome is real. It's the Epstein-Barr virus. As we've seen it, those with CFS have an elevated viral load of VVB, which systematically afflicts the body by creating a neurotoxin that inflames the central nervous system. This can eventually weaken the adrenals and digestive system and create the feeling that you have a low battery. It just hits me hard because when he talks about, you know, being in your 20s or your 30s or wherever stage you are, and you just feel like, why can't I keep up with everyone? And is it just like the worst feeling in the world? You'll only understand if you've got it when someone says, "Oh, but you look fine." Like I said before, I want to talk about pain. I've had chronic fatigue syndrome now for over 2 years. It's taken a long time, but I can slowly get closer to sort of working out my own body and working out when my body is heading for a crash, which happens every couple of weeks, where I just spend the whole day in bed. I might not be sleeping all day, but I'll have to lie down. I can't get up. Like, my muscles ache, I feel weak, and like everything, all the joints hurt. For me, especially the left one, I don't know what it is, but when my left elbow starts hurting, that's when we're like rocky territory. We're skating on thin ice now, and my hands like always hurt. But those are my biggest sign. My biggest sign is like when the elbow starts, it's like, okay, like calm down, like, you know, as much as you possibly can. You can't avoid a crash, but you can just like take it easy for the next couple of days, because otherwise you're gonna have a quicker onset than you would like. So another condition that goes side by side is fibromyalgia. Now, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's pretty much when there's pain in your body and it's unexplained pain. So for example, if you like fall down and hurt your knee, that's explained, you fell down and hurt your knee. But for example, like my elbows, I haven't done anything to it, it's just really painful. And only recently they've just changed the diagnosis of it. Before, you had to hit these 18 points in your body, and if you pushed on them and you felt pain, they would be able to say, okay, I think you have fibromyalgia. It's like chronic fatigue though, there's no actual like drug or diagnosis. It's just kind of, that's the condition they put it down to. So they don't anymore have the 18-point pain test, but you have to be in pain for 3 months, and it might not be every day. It might just be on and off sort of thing, like the elbow. And I've been told a few times by various doctors that I have that as well, and I totally believe that. I'll just tell you the 18-point things. Now just know it's symmetrical. This would be 1 and this would be 2. So that's 2 already. So the back of the neck, the front of the neck. So that's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Elbows, you've got your hips, the lower back, the upper back, the knees, the shoulders, and the chest. Like, I'm always like I never realized until very recently I always do this and like massage this area, and that's literally why. It's always like, why is it sore of some sort? But that would be it. You know, it's interesting, like I used to think like most people, massage is such a luxury, but when I started getting regular monthly massages, obviously it's not happening with COVID, but before, when I was doing it, my crashes were less. I was having less crashes, and my muscle, like, things weren't as sore. It very fast became more of a health necessity and a prevention method than a luxury. But the only thing, literally the only one product that is not sponsored, I buy this shit, but this is literally the only thing that I can say has ever helped me with any of the pain, is this CBD cream from Sagely Naturals. Hope you can see it, I'm not too sure. I haven't tried any of their other products actually, so I don't know if everything's great, but I can vouch very highly for this. And I actually think you can get it at CVS. I saw it there recently. And you know, CVS sends all those like 40% off coupons, so it's a good time to pick it up. So I want to move on to the questions. Someone said, what does a crash feel like? Okay. I've written it down in words. Crash feels like a period of immobilizing physical and or mental fatigue. In a cloud of pain. Kind of sad, it's kind of depressing. You can get like depressed about it because it's just, you're just no end in sight. Probably your serotonin levels are very low at that point too, obviously, because your hormones are going crazy. I get like shaky. I have low blood pressure naturally, but I feel like mine just lowers a lot. Feel very weak. Muscle achy. Okay, another question. What can I do for you? Well, there's nothing you can do, except all I can stress, really stress, is don't say, oh, you look great. I mean, unless they look great, like, you know, physically, like, oh my god, you look really good. But in terms of when you're talking about chronic fatigue syndrome, if someone is even, like, especially if someone has said, oh, I've had like bad chronic fatigue lately, don't say you look great. It's just hurtful. You can ask, how are you feeling today? Honestly, rather than, oh yeah, I'm good, how are you? How have you been lately? Ask questions like that, where it shows your concern rather than a blank, like a cutthroat statement like, you look great. Like, I had a lot of questions about symptoms and crashes, so that's pretty much all of them. But I took some screenshot of some of the many messages that I've been sent over the time from people who have it, whether it be on YouTube or DMs, or, you know, it's a community that is such a beautiful thing because there's not much out there, but it's a community I don't want anyone to ever join because it's like, it's death. Someone wrote on a YouTube video, basically spending my life right now. Another one, I just got diagnosed with mono and I swear I'm tired 24/7. Another one said, wow, I'm not crazy. This is exactly how I felt. I've had mono 2 years and have never felt better since. It's awful. Legitimately congratulated myself for brushing my teeth yesterday. When it's bad, you guys. I'm 14 and I got it 3 months ago and the pain is so bad. You have confirmed what my problem has been. I can't wait to go back to bed. I was 16 when I got glandular fever. I was off for 3 months in the hospital with a deranged liver and swollen spleen and tonsils the size of golf balls. Couldn't eat, couldn't drink, couldn't sleep. That's the other thing. Because of CFS, other problems exist. For example, for me, I always have this massive swollen spleen that causes so many issues. Enlarged spleen. I've got like excess fluid in my lungs now. What else? Like my throat's always sore. Just lots of crap that just comes with having it. Like my lymph nodes are enlarged. Oh, it's just it's a nightmare. I'm talking like hormones are crazy. The whole body is crazy. I just really wanted to make this video, and if anyone else is out there, the other 20 million of you in the world that have it, have your back. I'm gonna link that New Yorker report below, and any other information, just put it in the comments. I'm happy to try and explain or answer any questions. Again, I have no idea. I don't have a cure. For me, like today, for example, bought some groceries, had a nap, cooked some food, had a nap, made this video, probably gonna have a nap. Like obviously this is a Sunday, so it can be a bit slower, but it's just one of those things. It takes a lot of time to understand and be able to just listen to your body and not feel guilty about it. It takes a lot of time to give yourself grace It takes a lot of time to speak about it, I guess. Yeah, just work on giving yourself as much grace as possible, because that's literally the only thing you can do to not feel guilty about it, because your whole body just keeps changing. Your weight fluctuates up and down, your energy levels, your moods. It's a package deal. It's just a present for everyone around you. But anyway, thank you for watching this hour-long video that feels like it's been. I'm gonna go have a nap, relax, have a good day, and I wish you all the best, all the love.